Good morning. Today is day 67 of moving mountains beneath my feet. We are 89 days on our journey around the sun. There's 276 days left in the year. And this is episode 44. And today I kind of had to listen a lot longer before the message came to me. And it's come to me already, finally. Came up on this cliff. I do this hike and there's this cliff, well, it's basically a cliff that hangs out over the ocean. And I don't always come out this way, but it's always magical to come see this view. And this cliff kind of holds a special meaning for me because when I first got here and I first discovered this place back here, it was like one of the most magical places, most magical views I've ever seen. And that still never disappoints. You could see these amazing houses on the cliff to the other side of it, just right up on the hill and this cliff. They're looking over the ocean and they can see the cliff that I'm on, and it's just a magnificent view. And on the other side you could see the secret beach, and it's just this beautiful, amazing landscape. And why I'm describing this, I didn't know when I started, but now I'm feeling why. Inside of us is this landscape, right? There's this place within us that most of us have never really explored. Most of us have never really given ourselves the chance to be vulnerable enough to really look around within ourselves. And, I just came off this retreat and there was some really deep things that took place there. And I'm reminded that, a lot of times men, there's a particular man there who had quite a breakthrough, emotional breakthrough with being able to cry, who hadn't been able to cry in many, many years. And I think this is true for so many men. And this dynamic, we're told as young little boys, boys don't cry. Then you get a little older, toughen up, suck it up, man up, right? All of these things. Even myself, who I am quite in tune with my emotions and I allow myself to feel them because that's the only way through for me. If I don't allow myself to feel them, then it just creates really deep chaos within me. Even then, even with me knowing this, a lot of times I make my emotions not okay. I say, you shouldn't feel this way, stop it, quit being a little bitch. I'll say these things to myself, not so much the little bitch part anymore because I don't feel that way. But that term, right? That term is so prevalent. It's like, if you have emotions, you're a little bitch. Or if you feel something that isn't allowed or isn't right, then you need to stop it, right? And I think this is a deeper, much deeper subject that I can get to in 10 minutes. But a lot of people don't even know what they feel inside. A lot of people, especially men, don't even know what they want, right? And they're just going through the motions, doing what they're supposed to do. They have no experience of true vulnerability or intimacy with another human being, much less with themselves, right? Because in order to be intimate, like truly intimate and vulnerable with another human, you have to first be able to do it with yourself. And so I was listening to a podcast yesterday about dating and love by Danny Morell. And he was talking about, being vulnerable. And I think I lost my train of thought with this part. But basically, he's talking about how being vulnerable with your woman, right, in a relationship, it's very hard for a man. Okay, that's what it was. It was the dating coach that was on. It was Emily, was her name. And she said, as a man, if you reject the feminine part of you, right, then you're also going to reject that in your partner, in your person, in your woman. And so what oftentimes happens is a man cannot connect and allow his woman to be in her feminine because he rejects those parts of himself. He can't accept those parts of himself, and therefore he can't accept those parts within his partner. And that really hit me quite deeply, because it's true. It's like, if whatever you don't want or you don't allow in your partner is something that you're probably rejecting within yourself. And so a lot of times what we want is a similar version of ourselves, but without the sticky part that we don't like, or the hard part that we don't want to deal with. And I know this is so true for men, and I think that what women are really looking for is that space to be safe, right? And if a man cannot accept his own emotions, accept his own inner feminine powers, right? Feminine doesn't mean girly or like sissy, right? That word is not feminine. Feminine, the female, the woman is powerful, right? I think women are the most powerful force on the planet. They create life. They are the creative force of the world. They are intuition. They are all these different things. And so they've depowered, they've taken away the power of the word through the word feminine. They say, oh, feminine is not, it's the opposite of masculine, and it's not powerful. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than a woman. And so when a man can be balanced and can be in touch with his feminine side, but also embrace his masculine side and be balanced, I think that's the most powerful kind of man, because he's vulnerable and in love and has intuition and knows what he wants and knows how he feels and can hold space for another person. But he's also masculine. He's strength. He's secure. He can protect, provide, all of these things. And so this connotation of feminine being bad is just a byproduct of society. But also, like I said, when it comes to a relationship, it really does prevent you from having everything you want. When you reject the parts of yourself, you're also going to reject those parts in your partner. And I've had moments and times where I've had a hard time being or sharing vulnerability within my own relationship about certain things that make me really, I don't know why, they make me really, really vulnerable. It's like a really soft spot for me to talk about for some reason. It's like out of fear or whatever of the person's reaction or how they're going to receive what you say. That's normal, right? And I've kind of pushed through it sometimes anyway. And when I find that I'm not, that worst case scenario doesn't happen, and they do accept me as who I am and receive that part of me without judging it or pushing it away, then there's like a kind of release that happens. And I anticipate it's the same for the opposite, right? It would be the same for your partner. I had something else that was brewing in my mind. I can't think of it right now, so maybe it'll come back to me. But yeah, so the things that we want in life, that for some reason it's come up that it's in relationship, right? This is what this episode is about. In a romantic relationship, I guess is the context. But this applies to other areas, right? It's like when you think about things that you deeply desire, right? Are you actually preventing those things and rejecting those parts of you that are going to allow you to get that, right? It's like you want this amazing relationship, but are you allowing yourself to be vulnerable? And if you're not, examine why. What's the reason? What's the fear behind that desire to withhold? How are you trying to create safety within yourself by preventing something from being shared, right? And this is not to say that you're going to be safe with everyone. There's people that you aren't going to be safe with, right? There's going to be people that can't hold the space for your feelings. And what I had just came back. Women want men to be vulnerable and to be in touch with their emotions and all this, and be in balance and be able to regulate. But the one thing that I have seen women do throughout my whole life is, if you want your man to be vulnerable and to be in touch, then you can never, ever use his emotions or his feelings or what he shares against him. Because the moment you do, most men will retreat and they will not come back. They will not feel safe again to share. And so a lot of times, like I said, we self-sabotage what we want. So it's very important that if somebody's being vulnerable with you and sharing with you something that is deeply important to them or is a sensitive subject, that you are very careful with how you handle that. And you don't use that against them, because it can create a trauma and a fear in them to open back up. And so anyway, that's what I had for today. I hope you have a beautiful day today. If no one told you today, I love you and you matter. Blessings. One quick thing I wanted to add to this talk really quick is if the person you're sharing with, right, this is for both men and women, is not safe for you to share, and you know this, it's okay to be guarded, right? You can try to share what you have to share with these types of people, but also be aware that you may, you're not going to get the reaction that you want, or you're going to get a bad reaction by sharing your truth. And understanding that it isn't about you, it's about them and their inability to accept their own truths and the truth of situations. And they can't accept their own vulnerability, and so therefore they're not going to be able to accept yours. And so I thought it was important enough for me to come back and say this, because it is such a vulnerable thing to share with someone, and then I'm saying, hey, just share it. But if that person is not a safe place and not a safe person to share, you're asking for some pain and possibly some trauma if they reject that in you. But that's okay too, and that may be an exercise that you need to do. You need to release what you need to release with this person, and accept that they are not a safe place for you to share that with, and that's okay. This is why emotional safety is so important in relationships and with other people that you're actually being vulnerable with. And this is another reason why a lot of people can't be vulnerable, because they've never found a vulnerable, soft place that would be safe for them to share and be vulnerable with. And so with that, I wanted to end this, but I thought this was important enough for me to come back and say. Blessings.